Capturing the Hidden Movements of the Heart, reading Nathalie Sarraute's Tropismes. Many people find reading difficult due to the weight of words like knowledge and cultivation. Vague fears such as "what should I read first?" or "will I understand it?" often raise the threshold for engaging with books. However, reading is not the privilege of a particular class. Rather, it is one of the most powerful and universal tools for helping us understand our own lives more deeply and see the world more broadly. Books can be read not merely to acquire complex knowledge or study difficult philosophy, but to feel the subtle currents of emotions hidden within us and to cultivate sensitivity toward others' hearts. There is a special book that captures and reveals the subtle movements of the heart that we often overlook in our daily lives. This is precisely Nathalie Sarraute's Tropismes. While its form is very different from traditional novels and may initially feel unfamiliar, it offers readers a valuable new perspective to explore their own inner worlds and the emotions of others. Today, we will examine what Tropismes conveys and why this book is significant for us. 1. Nathalie Sarraute and the New Attempt of Nouveau Roman. Nathalie Sarraute is one of the representative writers of the French literary movement of the mid-20th century known as Nouveau Roman, New Novel. True to its name, this movement emerged from an attempt to boldly break away from the conventional structures of novels. Typically, when we think of a novel, we expect an engaging plot, clearly defined characters, and a clear depiction of their conflicts and resolution. However, the Nouveau Roman writers believed that these traditional narrative forms actually obscured the complex and subtle truths of human beings and the world. Rather than focusing on plots and character descriptions, these writers concentrated on elements previously overlooked in novels, such as the way characters view objects, the flow of consciousness, and the influence of objects and environments on characters. Like a camera capturing its subject, they aimed to depict phenomena themselves with minimal subjective interpretation and psychological description. Sarraute's Tropismes is both the pioneering work of the Nouveau Roman and a representative piece that best captures her unique literary world. 2. What are tropisms? The subtle tremors of the heart. The book's title Tropismes is originally a biological term. It refers to the phenomenon where organisms, such as plants growing toward light, phototropism, or roots moving toward water, hydrotropism, move in response to external stimuli without conscious awareness. In simpler terms, it is when plants react spontaneously to stimuli, not through willful action, but rather through instinctive reactions. Nathalie Sarraute applied this concept metaphorically to the human inner world. She believed that there are subtle and instantaneous psychological movements within human hearts that are difficult to control consciously or express with language. These include vague anxieties towards certain situations or people, indescribable discomfort, or faint tremors just before an emotion surfaces. While we often struggle to define or explain these feelings, they certainly exist and influence our actions and thoughts. Sarraute sought to capture and depict these tropisms of the human mind. For example, we can clearly sense a subtle feeling of alienation during a conversation with friends, an uncomfortable aura from a stranger, or an underlying sneer hidden behind someone's praise. Yet, it is often difficult to clearly define what those feelings are. Tropismes focuses precisely on such moments, those unconscious emotional seeds that flutter beneath our consciousness, magnifying them with careful sensitivity. 3. Content analysis of tropisms, exploring the microscopic world. Tropismes consists of 24 short stories or sketches. These sketches do not follow the conventional narrative structure of a novel, nor do they depict characters undergoing change through specific events. Instead, each piece is an independent episode that captures fragments of specific situations or emotions. Decomposition of plot and characters. There are no clear protagonists or defined plots in this book. Characters are treated anonymously, e.g., they, some man, or even omitted entirely, with the atmosphere and emotions being the focal point. This approach allows readers to focus on universal human inner movements rather than getting caught up in particular characters or events. Subtle tremors of daily life. Sarraute uses mundane, ordinary moments, conversations in cafes, walking on the street, silence in a living room, or the feeling of old furniture as her backdrop. Yet, She keenly captures the nuances within these ordinary moments, the glances exchanged between people, hidden intentions behind language, and sudden surges of jealousy or anxiety. Emotions Beyond Language. Tropisms explores emotional realms that cannot be fully expressed through language. Much like when we say of a painting, "I cannot describe it in words, but I feel something deeply," Sarraute strives to convey this something beyond the limits of language. Her sentences are often ambiguous, repetitive, and metaphorical, prompting readers to intuitively sense and interpret the emotional essence themselves. Subtle power dynamics in human relationships. The book often reveals the influence people have on each other and the subtle psychological power dynamics in which one person unconsciously dominates another or vice versa. These are not overt conflicts but are manifested in glances, small actions, or silence. Through this, readers are encouraged to reflect on how such tropisms operate in their own relationships. For instance, in one sketch, people are depicted seated together, chatting about trivial matters. While the conversation appears calm on the surface, the author keenly captures the underlying subtle competition, condescending glances, or hidden desires for approval. Reading such descriptions makes us realize how many tropisms have passed through our casual daily conversations, ones we've previously overlooked. 4. The implications of tropisms. Why we should read this book. Although Tropisms does not follow the traditional format of a novel, it offers readers an abundant and deeply enriching experience. Particularly for anyone seeking to broaden their understanding of human emotions and psychology, the book provides the following important insights. 4.1. Expanding human understanding. Discovering hidden emotions. We often judge people solely based on their appearances, words, or actions. However, Tropisms reveals how many subtle emotional movements exist behind these outward expressions. Reading this book is akin to training our senses to become more refined. It helps us develop the ability to detect underlying anxieties, desires, jealousy, or inexplicable joys in others' words and actions. This capacity significantly aids in understanding people more deeply, empathizing with them, and forming richer relationships. It is an insight that can be gained not through grand knowledge or background, but simply through observation and feeling. 4.2. An opportunity for self-reflection. Confronting the tropisms within. Tropisms not only helps us understand others but also acts as a mirror reflecting ourselves. As we read the subtle emotional fluctuations depicted in the book, we often experience moments of revelation. I remember feeling that emotion at such a moment. This allows us to confront the tropisms within us that we may not have consciously noticed or deliberately ignored. This process offers a chance to understand ourselves more honestly and deeply reflect on our own emotions. Simply becoming aware of our emotions allows us to manage them better and take more active control of our lives. 4.3. Recognizing the limits and possibilities of language beyond words. Tropisms clearly demonstrates that language cannot perfectly capture everything. Many of the emotions we feel cannot be fully conveyed through words. Yet, at the same time, the book explores how language, despite its limitations, can still convey subtle nuances and deep feelings. Sarraute's unique prose encourages readers to reflect on the profound power of language, the significance of what remains unsaid, and the meaning embedded in silence. This helps cultivate the ability to read beyond simple word meanings and detect the subtle nuances and emotions behind others' words. 4.4. Escaping fixed ideas. Gaining a new perspective. If you approach tropisms with expectations similar to those for traditional novels, you may feel disoriented. However, this very disorientation becomes a learning experience. The book challenges the fixed notion that a novel must follow a certain format and illustrates how literature can explore humanity and the world in diverse ways. This is not only valuable in literature but also helps expand our perspectives on viewing the world. Tropisms reminds us that stepping out of our comfort zones and embracing new experiences is the key to achieving broader and deeper understanding. 4.5. Cultivating sensitivity and refinement. Perceiving the world more richly. Ultimately, Tropisms teaches us to observe the world and people with more sensitivity and refinement. Through this book, we come to recognize that many things we previously passed over in daily life actually carry deep meaning. We learn to perceive complex emotional movements even in small facial expressions, brief silences, or sighs. This heightened sensitivity enriches our lives, making them more colorful and fulfilling. It marks the beginning of true cultivation, allowing us to experience deeper satisfaction in our relationships with others and with ourselves. 5. How readers can approach tropisms. Tropisms is definitely different from ordinary books. At first, it might feel difficult or even boring. However, if you approach this book with the following mindset, you will surely discover the joy of a new kind of reading. Do not seek a plot or characters. This book focuses on evoking sensations and emotions rather than telling a story. Instead of expecting the typical pleasures of a novel, read each sketch as you would a poem, savoring its atmosphere and language. Read slowly and thoughtfully. Do not force yourself to understand everything. Like watching a single scene in a movie or appreciating a piece of art, focus on the atmosphere and emotional waves in each sketch. Some sketches may simply be a collection of fleeting impressions. Connect with your own experiences while reading the subtle emotional descriptions in the book. You may recall times when you felt something similar. Take a moment to reflect on your own experiences. Connecting them will make the book's content more vivid and relatable. Do not fear the unfamiliar. Experiencing something new always involves a touch of discomfort and unfamiliarity. It is important to accept the strange feeling tropisms gives you naturally and remain open to new insights within. Read in short segments. Since each sketch is independent, you don't need to read the whole book at once. Reading 1 or 2 sketches per day and deeply reflecting on their feelings is also an effective method. Conclusion: a unique reading experience that opens the door to sensation. Cultivation and knowledge do not stem from simply knowing a lot. Rather, they originate from a refined perspective in viewing the world, depth in understanding others' hearts, and sincerity in self-reflection. Nathalie Sarraute's Tropismes is a special book that offers us true cultivation of this kind. This book gives us the opportunity to explore the world of hidden emotional movements and subtle feelings that language cannot fully express. While it might initially feel unfamiliar or difficult, if we open our hearts and listen closely to it, we will discover the profound landscapes of the human psyche that have remained unknown to us and gain a new sensory experience to perceive the world more deeply and richly. Reading is one of the simplest yet most powerful ways to broaden the horizons of our lives. I sincerely recommend that you embark on a new journey of understanding yourself and the world by discovering the tropisms within your heart through Tropismes. Regardless of your level of knowledge, this book will undoubtedly awaken your inner self and enrich your life.